This video is brought to you by Academy of Higher Learning. Hello and welcome to today's video. In this video I will be talking about product rule. So basically in today's agenda I will be showing you what the rule is, followed by the proof, and as usual a few examples. So let's start. The product rule. The product rule is a very handy tool in your toolbox. When you need to find the derivative of a function that is a combination of a product, which in case r of x equals f of x times g of x, you can use the product rule to find the derivative. So the derivative of r prime of x would be r prime of x equals the derivative of the first function, so f prime of x, times the second function, g of x, plus the derivative of the second function, g prime of x, multiplied by the first function, so f of x. So this is the product rule, and it's a general formula that you have to memorize. Well, it's not a formula, but a rule that you need to memorize. So basically here I've written it in a different way using dr of x over d of x, and basically the way I memorized it was that d first second plus d second first. So the other name for this would be d. My pen isn't working properly. So if you have a different method of memorizing it, share yours in the comments below. So next is the proof. The proof is pretty simple. First, there are a few steps that I'm going to lay out. First step is we're using. Okay, first of all, we're using this finding derivative of this function again. R of x equals f of x times g of x. So the first step is to write down the definition, which is r of x plus h minus r of x all over h. Then you're supposed to sub it in. So sub the function in, and it will be f of x plus h times g of x plus h minus f of x times g of x all over h. The third step is just add and subtract f of x plus h times g of x. So this is allowed because you're technically adding 0. So yeah, add f of x plus h times g of x. Next is to rearrange the formula, and pretty much you rearrange this by bringing this part that you just added to the middle of the original formula. So this is right here now, and then you just split it up in two. Then you split it up in two and then factor. So split and factor. So as you can see, like once I split this up into two uh, from here, on one side you can factor out the f of x plus h, and on the other side you can factor out g of x. So on the other page I have factored it out, and this is how it looks. I've taken f of x plus h, then I've like taken it out of the limit as well, and once you apply the limit rule on it, this is pretty much f of x right here, and this is the definition of the derivative but with g, so it will be g prime of x, and this is same thing plus g of x times the definition of derivative with f, so f prime of x. And if you ask yourself, can I use this for three functions if there are three multiple functions? Yes, pretty much. Say we have f of x equals p of x times q of x times r of x. So basically you can say that q and r of x equal s of x. Therefore it's technically now two functions. So you use the product rule, d first times second plus d second times first, and then you use the product rule on this. So s of x since equals q of x times r of x, you use the product rule. So s prime of x would be d first times second plus d second times first, and basically sub this back in here and you got the answer. And it's going to be longer as the more functions you multiply. So here's the first example. R of x equals x cubed 2x plus 5. Now I'm going to split it into two functions. So x cubed will be p of x, and 2x plus 5 will be q of x. Therefore I'm going to write it here, and it's p of x is equals x cubed, and p prime, you can just do it right here, x squared, and then q of x equals 2x plus 5, and the q prime would be just 2. So r of x equals, I'm going to rewrite this into this form, and basically the derivative suggests is d first times second plus d second times first. And next we have the values for prime and the normal values, and we just sub it in, so it'll be p prime of x equals 3x squared times q of x, which is 2x plus 5, plus q prime of x, that's 2, times p of x, which is x cubed. And here's the answer. So you may be thinking like to yourself, okay, I can just expand this and solve using the normal basic rules that you probably learned before. And yes, you can, but it's not going to work with trig, first of all, and second, if you're multiplying, like say, like if there are 4 terms in here in each of the functions, well, yeah, it's going to be much tougher for you. Or you're like finding the product rule of 3 multiple functions. So it's more efficient to use the product rule in that case. And here's the other example why it's more efficient. So here are 3 functions, and I'm going to split it up. So p of x equals x cubed. Right here. This second function is q of x, 2x cubed plus x squared plus 5, and the last function is s of x, because r is already taken. So I'm just going to write the p prime of x as well. That'll be 3x squared. Q of x equals 2x cubed plus x squared plus 5. Q prime of x equals 6x squared plus 2x. And lastly, s of x. And lastly, again, s of x equals 6x5 plus 5 to the power 5. And s prime of x equals 30x to the power of 4. So again, we're going to use the thing I told you. We're going to combine these two into one function, so this is t of x. So let's put it into a general formula, p of x and times t of x. The derivative would be d first times second plus d second times first. And remember, t of x equals q of x times s of x. Therefore, the derivative of t prime of x is d first times second plus d second times first. So let's sub this part in here, and we get p prime of x times t of x, which is q of x times s of x, plus p of x square bracket on t prime of x is q prime of x, s of x plus s prime of x, and q of x. As you can see, this is pretty long. You have the information up here. All you have to do next is sub it in. So p prime of x would be 3x squared and so on. So you have to find the derivative. So you guys can try that for yourself. Finish it. And lastly, here are some examples, so you can try for yourself. Pause the video. I'll show you the answers in a few. So now I'm going to show you the answers. And here are the answers. The first one is the answer is 6x minus 1 half x to the power of minus 1 half all over x minus 3x squared minus root x all over x squared. And the second one is x to the power of minus 1 half plus 8x times 2 or 3 x minus 1 to the 1 third plus x to the power of 2 thirds plus 5 times minus 1 half x minus 3 over 2 plus 8. As you can see, I haven't simplified it by expanding and collecting like terms. It takes a really long time.